Okay, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to go through Mathematics Paper 2, that the grade 9 external road for 2025. So what I want you to do is watch this video up to the end as I'm going to go through this paper. I'll answer all the questions from question 1 up to question 8. So please stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you find this video helpful, remember to like and share with your friends. Otherwise, let's get started. We come to section A. Section A has 20 marks and the instruction as follows. There are 2 questions in this section. Answer both. Each question carries 10 marks. So each question carries 10 marks. So each question, there are 2 questions. Now each question is subdivided into A, B, C, D. Okay, so it can even go up to E, but mostly it's A, B, C and D. A, B, C, D. Okay, sometimes there are 3 sub questions and sometimes there are 4 sub questions. So what we need to do is, if you pick question 1, that means you need to answer all the sub questions of question 1. That means you have answered question 1 completely. So with that in your mind, let's get started. Let's start with question 1A. Okay, question 1A is simplify 2 open bracket 3a minus b cross bracket minus 5a. So how do we go about this one? First, I'm going to write 2 open bracket 3a minus b cross bracket minus 5a. Okay, so next what do we do? First we evaluate what is in brackets. So 2 times 3a will give us 6a. Then 2 times negative b will give us negative 2b minus 5a. Okay, now next what we do, we put like terms together. So we have 6a, then negative 5 will close negative 2. We are going to have negative 5 minus negative 5a, 6a minus negative 5a minus 2b. Okay, then what do we do now? What we do next is we evaluate this one, which is 6a minus 5a, which will give us a. Then since b has no other term that has got there is no other term that is like negative 2b, or which is like to negative 2b, so we can say now we can just write minus 2b. Now like this, we have evaluated that expression completely. So simplifying 2 open bracket 3a minus b close bracket minus 5a will give us a minus 2b. Okay, unless if you have got questions. If you have no questions, let's go to question A, B. Okay, question A, B, express 56,982 in standard form correct to 2 significant figures. So what do we do? The first thing we need to do is we rewrite this number 56,982. So what we do is, since we want to write it in 2 significant figures, what we can do is, since the point is at the end, what we need to do is, we need to understand that the point should be between 5 and 6. Okay, so what we can do is, first we can even change this number, round off to nearest 1,000. Okay, nearest 1,000. So since 9 is bigger than 5, that means we add 1 to 6. So we're going to have something like 57. Then where there is 9, 8 and 2, we put zeros so that it becomes 57,000. Now once it has become 57,000, what we can do now next is we move the point. Okay, we are going to move the point to the left so that the decimal point comes between 5 and 7. So to do that, we're going to start moving the point and we count the number of times the point will move. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. So for us to come up with 5.7, the point is going to move 4 times. Okay, it is going to move 4 times. So we say times 10 to the power 4, the number of times the point moved. Now, like this, we have written 56,982 in standard form, correct to 2 significant figures. So basically, that's how you write these numbers into correct to 2 significant figures and in standard form. Okay, so our final answer is in standard form to 2 significant figures. Okay, if there are no questions, basically that's how you do this one. We come to question 1C, which is as follows. Given a triangle with sides of length A, B, and C, complete the flowchart for calculating and displaying the perimeter P of the triangle. Okay, so this question has got 3 marks. So how do you go about this one? Okay, so we know that when we have the triangle like this one, never mind about how the shape is. Let me just try to make it more visible. Okay, so we have a triangle like this one. So when you're calculating the perimeter, what you need to do is, if here there is 3, here there is 2, and here there is 1, and this one is A, and this is B, and this is C. Okay, this is C. So if you want to find the perimeter of this triangle, that means we're going to add all the sides, which is A plus B plus C. In this case, A is 3 plus B is 2 and C is 1. That means the answer will be 6. Okay, so this is what you do. So what you need to do in a flowchart is you just interface what is given. We are given the measurement of A, okay, we have A, we have B and C. Okay, so what we need to do is now we enter the formula. So the formula is P is equal to A plus B plus C. Okay, then once we enter the formula, when we place enter, what will be given? Remember, this is P. We are going to be given perimeter. So the box is too small for me to write the word display of perimeter, so I'm just going to say D, then perimeter. That means okay, so display of perimeter. So display perimeter there like that. Okay, so if you write the word perimeter, you are going to gain the marks. If you write display perimeter again, you're going to gain the marks. So this is how you feel it. Okay, if there are questions, you can ask in the comment section. If there are no questions, then you can go ahead. Now let's go to question 1D. Question 1D is as follows. A machine is valued at 4,700 exclusive of VAT added tax, which is value added tax, which is VAT. Given that VAT is charged at 16%, calculate the cost of the machine inclusive VAT. So how do you calculate the cost of machine with the VAT? So what we're going to do is I'm going to write the expression that we're going to use. So we're going to say cost with VAT, okay, is equal to cost without VAT plus VAT. Okay, now once we find that, then what we're going to do is now we're going to say equal to the cost without VAT is here, which is 4,700 kwacha plus VAT. So we are given VAT. Now let's look at VAT. VAT, we are given a percentage and not the actual amount. So what we do is we find the value of VAT. So we're going to open bracket, then we say 16 over 100 times 4,000, times, so before I write 4,000, let me also put the quater sign, times 4,700, okay, in brackets. So until we deal with the numbers in brackets, we shall continue writing 4,700 plus, okay. So what we do is we cancel the zeros down here and the zeros here. So here we remain with the 47, there we remain with the 16, okay. So that means we are going to put in bracket, then we say 16 times 47 quater. Okay, so here what has happened is on hundreds we have, on 16 over 100 we have cancelled 2 zeros, and that side we have cancelled 2 zeros. So that means we have 16 over 1 into 16 gave us 16, which I wrote here. 47 quater we multiply because that's what is remaining there. Then what we do is we go ahead and then we write 4,700 plus, so 4,700, that is quater, plus, so we multiply that. So 16 times, sorry, we multiply 6 times 7 will give us 42. So I'm going to write 2 here. Let me just multiply somewhere else because here it will be very confusing, okay, because there are 2 digits. So what we're going to do is we say 47 times 16, which will be 6 times 7 will give us 42. So I'm going to write 2 carry 4. 6 times 4 will give us 24 plus 4 will be 28. Okay, this is 28. So 282, that is the answer. So we put a 0 here and we multiply. 1 by 7 will give us 7. 1 by 4 will give us 4. Then we add that. We have 2. We have 5 here. 8 plus 7 is 5. Remainder 1 is 15. Remainder 1. So 2 plus 4 is 6 plus 1, 7. So we have 700 plus 752. Okay, so when we add that, what we're going to do, have 0 plus 2 will give us 2. 0 plus 5 will give us 5. 7 plus 7 will give us 14. We write 4 carry 1. Then 1 plus 4 will give us 5. So the answer is 5,452 as the final answer. So the cost with VAT is 5,452. Okay, so basically that's how we go about this question. If you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section. Come to question 2a. Question 2a is as follows. A bag contains 6 blue and 2 green buttons of the same size. If the button is picked at random from the bag, what is the probability that the button is green? Okay, so what we are asked here is to find the probability of picking a green button in a bag that contains 6 blue buttons and 2 green buttons. Okay, so we can say what is the probability? So we can say probability of picking a green button is equal to, okay, so how many green buttons are in the bag? There are 2. Okay, now how many buttons are all together in the bag? So what we need to do is we add 6 plus 2 will give us 8. So there are 8 buttons in the bag. Okay, now this is what I call raw probability. Okay, so what we need to do is just refine it and then we come up with the actual probability. So to refine the probabilities, what we're going to do is we're going to find a common factor of 2 and 8. What number can go into 2 and 8? So 2 itself can go into 2 and 8, and that is the maximum number that can go in both. So what we'll do is we'll divide both numbers, okay, both numbers by 2. Okay, so now we want to come up with the actual probability. 2 divided by 2 will give us 1. 8 divided by 2 will give us 4. Okay, So the probability of picking a green button in a bag that contains 8 buttons with green 2 green buttons from 8 will be 1/4. 1/4. Okay. Please, if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section. Otherwise, this is how we go about it. Okay, let's go to the next question. The next question is question 2b, which is find the product of 3, 2, 1 base 5 and 1, 4 base 5. Give your answer in base 5. Okay, so what we can do now is we can write 3, okay, 2, 1 in base 5 multiplied by 1, 4 in base 5. Okay, so what we're doing is we're multiplying. So how do we go about it? So we start 4 times 1 will give us 4. 4 times 2 will give us 8. How many times can 5 go into 8? How many times can 5 go into 8? It will go 1 time, remainder 3. So the remainder 3 is the one I'm going to write down here. Then I'm going to say 4 times 3 will give us 12. 12 plus 1 will give us 13. 13, how many times can 5 go into 13? It will go 2 times, remainder 3. So I'm going to write 2 here and then say remainder 3. Okay, 2 is the number of times 5 can go into 13. Then we say, is there a number that we can multiply with? We can multiply it with by 4. There is no number, so that means even this 2 which I wrote there, I'm going to write it here, just like we do in base 10. Okay, now once I've done this, the next thing we're going to do is now we're going to say we are done multiplying 4 by the numbers on top. So we go to 1. So what do? We put 0 under 4 on the product side. Then we say 1 by 1 will give us 1. 1 by 2 will give us 2. Okay, 1 by 3 will give us 3. Okay, now what we do is we add the numbers. Okay, we add the numbers. Okay, 4 plus 0 will give us 4. 3 plus 1 will give us 4. 3 plus 2 will give us 5. How many times will 5 go into 5? It will go 1 time, remainder 0. So we write 0 and the 1 comes on top of 2. Okay, so never should you write the 1 this side when you're adding. You put it on top of the next column of numbers so that you don't forget the remainder. When we say 1 plus 2 will give us 3. 3 plus 3 will give us 6. How many times will 6 go into? How many times will 5 go into 6? It will go 1 time, remainder 1. It will go 1 time, remainder 1. So 1 plus 0 is 1. Then this is the product. So multiplying 3, 2, 1 in base 5 by 1, 4 will give us 1, 1, 0, 4, 4 in base 5. Okay, so basically that's how you multiply numbers like this one. Okay, so what I want to encourage you is that I have created a WhatsApp group where I want to revise with you for the last time. So please, there's a link in the description. So make sure you click on the link and join that group. I know 2 weeks or 3 weeks can seem to be small, but if we have intensive revision where we talk about these questions and try to solve them, I'm sure something can be done. Okay, if we can just go through 3 paper 1 questions and question papers and 3 paper 2 question papers, I think someone can move from where they are up to above 40%. So make sure join the WhatsApp group. Okay, come to question 2C, which is as follows. 1. Use geometrical instruments to construct a triangle in which PQ is equal to 9 centimeter and PQR is equal to 90 degrees and angle PRQ is equal to 45 degrees. So where I said and this should be angle PQR is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so let's start constructing the a triangle. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to construct the line. Okay, so the line should be from 0 to 9 centimeter, so somewhere here. Okay, that is the line I've drawn, that is 9 centimeter line. Okay, so what we need to do is now we give it a name. So we should agree that the name that we give to these are the ones that are there. So we call this point P and this point Q. Okay, now once we have given them the names, we go to the next point, which is saying angle PQR is equal to 90 degrees. So where there is Q, we construct 90 degrees angle. Okay, so that means I'm going to get my compass here and put it here like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get any length that is, get this length is okay. Okay, so 2 centimeter is okay. So what I can do now, I can draw the arc like this. Okay, the arc like that. Okay, once I draw the arc like that, then next thing I'm going to do is, remember I'm trying to construct a 90 degree angle at Q. So I'm going to bring the compass there. So when you're doing this, you need to be pricking where you're putting the compass. Then I'm going to close the line there. I'm going to draw the arc here like that. Okay, now from there I'm going to maintain the same size of the width, so I'm not going to change the width, so I'm going to maintain the same size. Then what I'm going to do now here, I'm going to draw an extension arc. Then I'm going to move the compass, draw the arc that crosses the other arc there. Okay, now once I've done this, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to draw a line that crosses here. Okay, it will start from this point going upwards and passing through the center of the arcs where the arcs are meeting. Okay, like that. Then once we have drawn the arc like that, now that one we have constructed a 90 degree angle. Okay, now after constructing a 90 degree angle there, so you make sure that the line is passing through the middle. Now after constructing the 90 degree angle on Q, which is angle PQR, so I'm going to construct a 40 degree angle on P. That means I'm going to bring my compass here. So to construct a 45 degree angle on Q, what I'm going to do is, okay, then I'm going to draw the same arc. First I'm going to draw the 90 degree angle. Then after I draw the 90 degree angle, and then I'm going to bisect it. So I'm going to follow the same step I followed when I was constructing the 90 degree angle. I'm going to lift it and put it here. Then I'm going to draw another arc like that. Then I'm going to draw the extension. Remember, I want just to construct a 90 degree angle first. So you maintain the width just like the way it is. Okay, now once I've done that, I'm going to draw a line. So the line from this point crossing the center, where the point where those two arcs are crossing each other. Okay, so for you, what you need to do is you need to pick the points where you are doing this. So my measurements may not be accurate because there is nowhere where I'm pricking to make sure that you have got exact points. Now, once I've come up with this, the next thing I'm going to do is, since I've got a arc already here that is connecting these two lines, so what I can do is I can just bisect this angle to come up with it. I'm going to draw the arcs like that. I'm trying to bisect the 90 degree angle so that I can come up with 45 degrees. So I want to bisect the angle I've made on P, which is a 90 degree angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now bring this compass here and then bisect it and then bisect it like that. Now once I draw a arc like the way I've drawn, then to bisect it, I'm going to draw a line from this point Q passing through that and meeting this line here. Okay, so now, like I said, you as a student, as you are doing this, you should be pricking the points. So for me, I'm not pricking the points, so it's very difficult for me to even come up with the actual, but the steps I'm showing you, those are the steps that you take. And then when we look at the statements that you are given, so I've drawn the triangle, and it is a light angled triangle. So what I can do is now I can now even indicate this is a right triangle and that is point R. Okay, it's a right triangle. Now once I've done this, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to question 2, which is bisect angle QRP and angle RPQ and rate the angle bisectors meet at O. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the angle QR. So the angle that I'm going to bisect is this one, so I'm going to put my compass there on the point. So if it's pricked, you put it in at the area where it's pricked. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw the arc. So I'll draw the arc that is crossing there. Then after I do that, I'm going to lift my compass and put this there without changing the size of the arc. So after setting it there, then I'm going to draw a arc. So I'm going to draw a arc like this. Okay, then next I'm going to put the compass again there. So you make sure you prick. Okay, for me it's even difficult because that is a white thing there. Okay, so once I do that, then I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to draw the line there. Okay, like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put my compass this side, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line that starts from this point R going through, okay, like that. So the line can be as long as possible so that there is chance of those lines meeting. So like that. So don't draw shorter ones with an expectation that I'll come and extend. Sometimes you are not going to achieve the same accuracy you achieved. You may end up having two lines in a similar position or same position. Okay, then once we have drawn a line like that, then they'll go to the next one where we're asked to bisect angle RPQ. So RPQ, this is the angle that we need to bisect here, P, at the point P. So this is the angle which is on P. So what we're going to do, we'll bring the compass. Now here I cannot even draw the lines because there is already a arc that is crossing two lines. So I'm just going to put my compass there. Okay, then I'm going to draw a arc like that. I'm going to bring the compass here without changing the length, the width between the arms. Then I'm going to draw the arc like that. Then I'm going to get my compass and put it there. Then I'm going to draw the line. Okay, so the line should be long, and then that is the line. So if it is not exact from the point, what I can encourage is you prick the points. For me, that is how it is passing. Even when you make a close of arcs, you prick on the middle. Okay, then next what I'm going to do is I'm going to, we are told and let the angle bisector meet at O. So where it's meeting, the angle bisector is meeting, we'll call it O. So here I'm going to write the word O there. Okay, now once we have done that, we can go to question 3, which is saying draw a bisector from O to side PR. Label the part where the perpendicular meets PR as S. Okay, so bisector, so we need to bisect this. So what we can do is we want to bisect the line. Now we want to bisect is to divide it into half. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Okay, then what we'll do is we'll get a length that is longer than the line itself, half of the line. So not that is longer than the line, half of the line, and then draw the arcs. We're using that. So we draw the arc like that. I strongly feel the lines will meet, so I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, the arcs will close like that. Okay, so we are bisecting the line. So what we can do is, now once I've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line that passes through O and that one. Okay, so what we can do now here is we can call that point S. So we are told to call the point where S meets the line PR, we can call it S. Okay, where the line meets PR, we can call it S there. Okay, so that point is called S. Okay, now the other question is measure and write the length OS. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, I can use any, let me use the ruler. If I'm going to have difficulties in twisting the ruler, then I'm going to just use a line. Measure that line is from 0, so that one you can say that is 2.5. Okay, that is 2.5 centimeter. So we can go ahead and write 2.5 centimeter like that. Okay, so if you are able to write small numbers, you can go ahead and write that, but what you have measured is 2 2.5 that is 2.5 centimeter. Okay, so basically that's how you go about it, and this is the kind of diagram the examiners wanted. So please make sure if you have followed all the steps I did, this is how you do it. Okay, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now let's go to section B. Okay, we come to question 3A. Question 3A was as follows, or question 3A is as follows. Find the value of 101101 in base 2 plus, or divide by, so that is not plus, that is divide by 1001 in base 2, give your answer in base 2. Okay, so how do you go about this one? So what you need to do is this. First, I'm going to come up with a flame. I'm going to come up with a flame. I'm just thinking of dropping, okay, like that. Okay, then I'm going to write my divisor here, which is 1001. Then the dividend is 101101. Okay, so my first question is, can 1001 go into 1? No. Can 1001 go into 10? No. Can 1001 go into 101? No. Can 1001 go into 1011? Yes. How many times? 1. Okay, it will go 1 time. So 1 times 1, 0, 0 1 will give me 1 0 0 1. Okay, now what I will do here is I will subtract. 1 minus 1 will give me 0. 1 minus 0 will give me 1. 0 minus 0 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. So I'm not going to write those zeros that are on the left side of the number. Okay, so what do we do? Can 1 0 0 1 go into 1 0? No, it can't. So what am I going to do? I'm going to drop this 0. I'm going to drop this 0 down here. Can 1 0 0 1 go into 1 0 0 1? No, it can't. So I'm also going to drop this one down here. So can 1 0 0 1 go into 1 0 0 1? Yes. How many times? 1 time. Okay. Then when I multiply 1 times 1 0 0 1 will give me 1 0 0 1, like that. Then we say minus. So when we subtract 1 minus 1 will give us 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. Then 1 minus 1 is 0, like that. Okay, so the correct answer there is when we divide 1 0 1 1 0 1 in base 2 by 1 0 0 1, we'll get 1 1 in base 2. Okay, so basically this is the correct answer. So you don't have to write anything. The markers will just check what you have written on top and how you have gone about it. Then they'll give you. Okay, let's go to question 3b. Question 3b is as follows. Calculate the sum of interior angles of a polygon with 12 sides. Okay, calculate the sum of interior angles of a polygon with 12 sides. So how we go about this one is like this. So first I'm going to write the formula, which is the sum of interior angles. Let me write properly. Sum of interior angles is equal to, so we have n minus 2 multiplied by 180 degrees. Okay, so what we do now is n stands for the number of sides. So in the question we are told there are 12 sides. So where there is n, I'm going to put 12 minus 2. 12 is the number of sides times 180 degrees. Okay, so what you can do now is this. 12 minus 2 will give us 10. Then times 180 degrees. Okay, so what you can do now is we just find the product of multiplying 10 and 180 degrees. So what you can do is, let's ignore the zeros and focus on 1 and 18. So 1 times 18 will give us 18. Now remember, we ignored 2 zeros, okay, the one from 10 and the one from 180 degrees. So we put them, the 2 zeros we ignored, we put them back to the product, and that is the answer. As easy as that. Okay, and that is the answer. Okay, if you have got questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comment section. If you find this video helpful so far, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also like my video. We are going to continue with you up to grade 12, so there's no need for you to not subscribe to our channel, because we'll continue doing grade 12 work, and then we'll be transitioning slowly, just like the exams are going. So you even see from 1 week, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, until the final exam. When the results are out, we'll deal with the final exams as well. Okay, now let's go to the next question. So question 3C is as follows. Given that A minus BC is equal to 3 plus 7C, make C the subject of the formula. Okay, so to make C the subject of the formula, what we're going to do is this. We are going to rewrite the expression, which is A minus BC is equal to 3 plus 7C. Okay, so to make C the subject of the formula, remember this is A. To make C the subject of the formula, so I'm going to put all the terms that have got C in them together. So that means we are going to have A, then 3 will cross the equal sign and become a negative. This is positive 3. It crosses the equal sign and becomes a negative. So A minus 3 is equal to 7C. then BC is a negative, it's negative BC, then when it crosses the equal sign it will be plus BC. Okay, now what we do now here is this. First we focus on this expression so that we deal with C. So we're going to factorize. Okay, so we're going to have A minus 3 is equal to, so we're going to factorize 7C and BC. So to do that, we're going to ask ourselves what number or variable is found in both. We can see that C is found in both. So C is the common factor. So we're going to say C, then open bracket. Okay, because it's only C that is found in both. Then we say C into 7C, it will go 7 times. Then C in BC, positive BC, it will go B times. So we say plus B, close bracket. Okay. Now, once I've done this, the next thing we're going to do is now, we want to remain with the C on one side of the equal sign as we are trying to make it the subject of the formula. So what we do is we'll divide both sides by plus 7. Or sorry, we are going to divide both sides by 7 plus B. So we have 7 plus B. Again here we have over 7 plus B. Okay, so now what you can do is, now there are some learners who insist that the subject of the formula should always be on the left side. Okay, the key thing is the subject of the formula should be just on one side of the equal sign alone. That's the most important key thing. So what we're going to do is now we can write in advance A minus 3 over 7. Okay, this is 7 plus B is equal to, so what will happen is 7 plus B down will be cancelled and 7 plus B on top will be cancelled, leaving us with C. Like this, we have made C the subject of the formula. We have made C the subject of the formula. Come to question 3D, which is the diagram shows a triangular prism ABCDEF in which ED is equal to CF, which is equal to 10 centimeter. CD is equal to AB, which is equal to EF, which is equal to 15 centimeters. AM is equal to 4 centimeter and angle AMD is equal to 90 degrees. Now, when you look at the statement above, you compare it with what is drawn, you find that the statement above is just illustrating or saying what is in the diagram. Okay, now what you need to do is take time and study the diagram. Once you have studied the diagram, then you can go to the actual question, which is calculate the volume of the prism. So how do we find the volume of the prism? Okay, to find the volume of the prism, first we need to find the area of the base, okay, of this one side of the triangle side. Okay, so what we can do is we come up with a formula which is volume is equal to 1 over 2. First we need to find the area of the triangle. 1 over 2 times BH. Okay, this is H, sorry, this is H. Okay, that is H. Okay, the whole of that times L. Okay, so it's okay if you write times BH times L, it's okay. L stands for the high length of 15 centimeter. Okay, then we say is equal to, then we say 1 over 2 times B, that is the base, which is 10 centimeter, then times height, that is 4 centimeter, then times length, which is 15 centimeter. Okay, now remember we are trying to find the volume. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we evaluate that. So you can just cancel this 2 and this 5, this 10, it will be 5. 2 into 2, that is cancelled. Then 2 into 10, that is 5, the one which is on top. Then we can go ahead and multiply. 1 times 5 centimeter will give us 5 centimeter. Okay, 5 centimeter times 4 centimeter times 15 centimeter. Okay, then what we need to do is we just multiply 5 centimeter times 4 centimeter will give us 20 centimeter squared. Okay, 20 centimeter squared times 15 centimeter. Okay, this is 5 pris, this is 15 centimeter. Okay, then we say 20 times 15. 20 times 15 will give us 300. Okay, now remember, if you are having difficulties with multiplying, this is fun, but this is true. If you're having difficulties in multiplying like 20 by 15, just think of, you have got 20 15 quaternions or 15 20 quaternions. I know when it comes to money, you'll be accurate. Okay, with that aside, now we say centimeter squared times centimeter will give us centimeter cubic. So the volume of the triangular prism above is 300 centimeter cubic. 300 centimeter cubic. So this is how you go about it. If you have got questions, I'm here to answer them. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you find this video helpful, remember to like and share with your friends. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is question 4. Question 4 is as follows. Okay, question 4 is as follows. Solve the simultaneous equation. That is, solve the simultaneous equation, which is x minus 2y is equal to 7, 3x plus 2y is equal to 5. Okay, so how do we go about this one? So what we do is just here. Now we look at the signs, so we just need to identify the variable that we can get rid of. So we know that 2y and negative 2y and positive 2y, these two can be gotten rid of, but we need to be very careful. Since it's a negative and a positive, that means we should add these equations. Okay, now 4x plus 3x will give me 1x plus 3x will give me 4x. Then negative 2y plus positive 2y will give me 0. They will neutralize each other. Okay, so if you're wondering how, let me show you. If you have got negative 2 plus open bracket positive 2, okay, I'm just ignoring the y so that I can make it easier for you. So first I'm going to evaluate what is in bracket. So I'm going to write negative 2, then positive times positive 2 will give me positive 2. Therefore, negative 2 plus 2 will give me 0. And that's the answer. So that's why I'm saying that will be 0. So we ignore it. And then we say equal to 7 plus 5 will give me 12. Okay, so I'll write 12 like that. Then once I've written like that, what I can do is now is just to find the value of x. That means I need to get rid of 4, which is with x on one side of the equal sign. So that means I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Okay, then what I'm going to do is this 4 down and this 4 up will cancel each other, leaving us with x. Okay, leaving us with x. Then 4 into 12 will be 3. Then this will be the answer. Okay, if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section, but basically this is how you do it. So we have found the value of x. Now remember, this is simultaneous equation and we need to find the value of y. So what I can do is I'll pick one equation. Let me pick the one on top. I'm not going to be picky. I'll just choose whatever comes first. Okay, so that is 7 and here we have y. So what I can do is now we use that equation on top. X minus 2y is equal to 7. Okay, then we say what is the value of x we found is 3. So we say 3 minus 2y is equal to 7. So we put like terms together. That means we have negative 2y is equal to 7. Then 3 will cross the equal sign and become a negative. So negative 3. Then once we have done that, what we're going to do is we're going to have negative 2y is equal to 7 minus 3 will be 4. Then what we do now, we want to remain with y on one side of the equal sign. That means we need to get rid of negative 2. So we are going to divide both sides by negative 2. Okay, we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. So this negative 2 and the negative 2 on top will cancel each other, leaving us with the y, which is equal to negative 2 into positive 4 will give me negative 2. So the value of y is negative 2. The value of y is negative 2. Okay, so basically that's how you go about this one. Please, if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section. Otherwise, this is the answer that examiners were expecting from you. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I'm going to continue to journey with you up to your final exam in grade 12. So journey with me. Let's revise together. Come to question 4b. Okay, come to question 4b, which is given that R is equal to 3, 2, 7, 5, and S is equal to 5, negative 2, negative 7, 3. The actual question is express SR as a single matrix. So how do we express SR as a single matrix? So what we need to do is this. First, we are going to write how we want to express that. So we want to express it as SR. We want to express those two matrices as a single fraction in that order. Remember, if you are told to express two matrices, like in this example where I are told to say express SR as a single matrix, they are telling us that we should multiply matrix S by matrix R. So never should you write RS or arrange the matrix RS. No. Okay, so you make sure you follow the instruction in the question. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open bracket. Matrix S is 5, negative 2, negative 7, 3. Cross bracket, then multiplied by 3, 2, 7, 5. Okay, then close bracket. Okay, so what we can do now here is we can go ahead and multiply. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply. So we're going to say 5 times 3. Okay, so we open a smaller matrix and then we say 5 times 3, close bracket, plus, then we have negative 2 times 7. So we open bracket like that, then we say negative 2 times 7, close bracket like that. Okay, I hope you are following me. Then next, what we need to do is, let me just reduce the size of my writings. Then we say next, again we multiply the same top row by the second column in the second matrix. Okay, so we have got open bracket, then we say 5 times 2, okay, close bracket, plus negative 2 times 5. Okay, then close bracket. Okay, then we come down again. We start with the row that is down, which is negative 2 and 3. Negative 7 and 3. Negative 7 and 3. So we open bracket, we say negative 7 times 3. We start with the column that is the first column. So negative 7 times 3, close bracket, plus 3 times 7. Let's hope this 3 is seen. Okay, it's clear. 3 there. Okay, close bracket like that. 3 times 7. Then again we multiply the same row of matrix in matrix S by the second column. So we have negative 7 times 2 plus 3 times 5. Okay, close bracket. Then we do like this. Okay, now after we have done that, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to evaluate what we have come up with. So we'll do the actual multiplying. There we are just writing expression. I'm going to open bracket, then I say 3 times 5. I'm looking at this one. 3 times 5 will give me 15, plus negative 2 times 7 will give me negative 14. Give me negative 14. Then again I focus on this row. Then I say 5 times 2 will give me 10, plus negative 2 times 5 will give me negative 10. Negative 2 times 5 will give me negative 10. Okay, then now I come on the second row, which is negative 7 times 3 will give me negative 21, plus 3 times 7 will give me 21. 1 as well. Okay, then close bracket. Then we come on this, we say negative 7 times 2 will give me negative 14, plus 3 times 5 will give me 15. Okay, then like that. Okay, now what is there is now, let's see, find the sum of those. So 15 plus negative 14 will give me 1. Okay, 15 times 14 will give me 1. So what is happening there is that we have got, let's look at this expression. We have 15, and then so positive times negative 14 will give me negative. So it's more or less like 15 minus 14, which will give me 1. Then here again we have 10, positive times negative 10. Here we have positive times negative 10 will give me negative 10. So which is 10 minus 10 will give me 0. Okay, then here I've got negative 21, negative 21 plus 21 will give me 0. Okay, then we have negative 14 plus 15. So 15 is bigger than 14, so we maintain the positive sign. So I've got 1 here, and this will be the answer. So basically that's how we go about it. That's how you multiply matrices. If you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section, but basically this is how we go about it. Okay, let's go to the next question. We come to question 4b, which is as follows. Mary is paid a monthly basic salary of 8,000 kwacha. Calculate a monthly gross if she also receives 20% of the basic salary as housing allowance. Okay, so this is the situation for Mary. So Mary gets 8,000 as her salary. Then there is also 20% addition of housing allowance. Okay, so how much does she get as a basic, as a gross salary? Okay, that's what we want to find. We want to find the gross salary. So what you should understand is that gross salary is the salary, the basic salary plus allowances. They make gross salary before you deduct any deductions. So in a gross salary, there are no deductions, but there are allowances. So what we need to do is we just need to find the sum of allowance and the sum of allowance and the basic salary. So let's go ahead and find the gross salary. Okay, so what we can do is now we can say gross, sorry, it should be gross salary is equal to basic salary plus allowance. Before any deduction, just plus allowance, okay? Before there are deductions. So what you can do now, we can say, what is a basic salary? That is 8,000. So we say 8,000 kwacha. I'll ignore the ingwes, okay? Plus our allowance is how much? So we are told it's 20%. We are not given the exact amount. Instead, we are given the percentage. So what we can do is, let's find the percentage, the value of the percentage, which is 20%. So we say 20% over 100. Okay, 20% over 100 times 8,000. Okay, times 8,000. So what we can do now is we do like that. Okay, so what we're going to say is 8,000 plus, so let's work out what is in the brackets first. So 100 into 8,000, it will go 80 times. Okay, so we cancel the 2 zeros. When you cancel 100 down, we cancel 2 zeros from 8,000. Okay, so we remain with 80. So we can say open bracket 20 times 80 kwacha. Okay, cross bracket. Okay, so we continue writing 8,000. The basic salary, will continue writing it as it appears until we find the value of the allowance. So we ignore the zeros, then we multiply 2 times 8 will give us 16. So let me put kwacha sign, then we say 16. Then we ignored the 2 zeros from 20 and from 80. So we remember them and we add them to the product. so it becomes 1600. Then what we do is we just find the sum of 8000 and 1600, which is 9600 as the value. Okay, so basically this is how we go about it. If you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section. If you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We come to question 4. Question 4 is as follows. That is question 4C. Start the Venn diagram and answer the questions that follows. Okay, so we can start the diagram. That's what we are encouraged to do. So we can start the diagram. Once we have started, we can go to the actual question, which is list the elements in set T. 1. P union Q complement intersection R. Okay, so to work out this one, this is what we're going to do. First, we're going to dismantle the set that is given. So we have got P union Q complement. Okay, so we need to identify the members of P union Q complement. Then we also have set R. Okay, so we also need to identify the members of set R. Okay, so let's start. So let's start with the P union Q complement. So P union Q complement. That means we don't need to include any member that is found in P or Q, or not or Q. Any member that is found in P and Q. Okay, we have no option there. So those we exclude them. That means we are going to remain with I don't know if this one is I don't know if it's I or what. Okay, so we're saying I, G, and J. These are the members of set P union Q complement. So we can even close it like that. Okay, now once we've done this, the next thing we're going to do is we will look at members of set R. So members of set R are these ones here. Okay, this is set R. So all the members that are found in there. Okay, so what we can do is we record them all. Okay, so that is A. I know I can find the answer without drawing this. I don't know that that is E, not C. Okay, E. Then we have D. Then we have F. Then we have G, and then we have I. Okay, I've recorded how many members? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6. Okay, now there are also 6. Okay, now the question is we list the members of the question is P union Q. Okay, in brackets complement. Okay, intersection R. Okay, so what we need to do is from those two sets we have made, we look for members that are found in both. Okay, so we can see that I is found in both, so we can record it. Write I, comma. We can see that also G is found in both. We can write G there. Then we can see that J is not found in both, so there are only 2 elements. So that means P union Q complement intersection R will give us IG. We have elements IG. Okay, if I'm too fast, if you're confused, I'm here. You can just ask the questions and I'll be there to respond to your questions. Now let's go to the next question. That is question 2, which is question 2 is P intersection Q. P intersection Q union Q intersection R. Okay, so what we can do is again we dismantle the sets. So we have got P intersection Q. Okay, so P intersection Q, then we list the members. Again we have got Q intersection R, we list also the members. Okay, so what we can do now is we go to the diagram, and first this time as I'm going to the diagram, I want to find P, the elements of P intersection Q. P intersection Q. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go to the diagram and check. Okay, so let me remove the drawings that we made earlier. Now, so we are looking for P intersection Q. Let me see P intersection Q. So P intersection Q, this is the part P intersection Q. I don't know, this one here is P intersection Q. Okay, so those elements that are found there are AE or ACE. Okay, so we have elements that are ACE. Those are elements that are found in the intersection of P intersection Q. Okay, that is, those are elements that are found in the the intersection of two sets, which is P and Q. Okay, now once we have found that, the next thing we're going to do is, now let's go and look for elements that are found in Q intersection R. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to remove this we used for the first set, so that it does not confuse us. So we look for Q intersection R. Yes, Q intersection R. So what is Q intersection R? The part that is Q intersection R is this one here. Q intersection R is that one. So now the question is, we have got AEF. AEF. So we can record that as well. We can say AEF. Those are Q. Those are the members of Q intersection R. Okay, now the actual question is asking us to list the members of, open bracket, intersection Q union Q intersection R. Okay, so we need to list the members of those. So when we are entering members of two sets and we are trying to come up with a union set, so what we do is we list all the elements. Even if they appear twice, you record them once. Even if they appear thrice, you record them once. Okay, in case there are three sets. So let's start with the first set, which is ACE. So we can record that one. We can record those without even checking. So we have ACE from the first set. The second set, which is here, now we look, we have recorded A, we have recorded E. What we haven't recorded is F, so we record F. Okay, so please don't record A twice or E twice. That means your answer will be wrong. This is the answer. Okay, this is the answer we have gotten for P intersection Q union Q intersection R. Those are the elements. Okay, if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section. If there are no questions, we come to question 5. Question 5 is as follows. In the diagram, AD is a straight line. Angle BAC is equal to 2x degrees. Angle ABC is equal to 3x degrees. And angle BCD is equal to 130 degrees. Now, the question is, express the sum of the interior angles in triangle ABC in terms of x in its simplest form. Okay, so what we need to do is, first we need to, the question is, let me read the question again. Express the sum of interior angles in triangle ABC in terms of x in its simplest form. Okay, so what we need to do first is we need to find the triangle has got 3 sides and it has got 3 interior angles. Okay, so what we are given 2 interior angles. Okay, so we need to find the third interior angle. Okay, so how do we find the third interior angles, and which is the third interior angles that is not given? This angle, we don't know its value, it's not given. Okay, so let's find the value of that angle first before we go ahead. Okay, so what we can do is we should understand that angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. That means this angle, we will call it B. That means B plus 130, B degrees plus 130 degrees will give us 180 degrees. So we can say 30 degrees plus B is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, the next, what do? We put like terms together. So we have B is equal to 180 degrees. So it's not 30, it's 130. Sorry for that, it's 130. Okay, so I have got 130 degrees plus b is equal to 180 degrees. Then we have b is equal to 180 degrees, so this is degrees, plus 100, sorry, since the 130 degrees will cross the equal sign, that means it's going to become minus. So we're going to say minus 130 degrees. Okay, then we say b is equal to 180 minus 130 degrees to give us 50 degrees. Okay, so basically that's how we can use, and I've used the property which is angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. That means b plus 130 degrees will give us 180 degrees. Okay, now that out of the way, that means we've found the value of the angle b. So what we're going to do is I'm going to remove b there and write its actual value, which is 50 degrees. So here we have 50 degrees. Okay, so now let's go ahead and express the sum of interior angles in its simplest form. So what we're going to do here, I don't know if you have even enough space. So what we're going to do here is going to say we have there on top here we have got 3x plus, down here we have got, remember it's degrees, plus 2x degrees plus 50 degrees should give us 180 degrees. So what we can do is now we put like terms together. So we can say 3x degrees plus 2x degrees will give us 5x degrees, then is equal to 180 degrees plus 50 degrees. Okay, sorry, not plus 50. I don't know why plus is in my mouth. I don't know. Please, it should be, now 50 has crossed the equal sign, should be minus 50 degrees. Okay, then once we have done that, what we can do now is we write 5x is equal to, that will give us 130 degrees. Okay, so here the other thing you can do is, the simplest one you can use is opposite interior angles are, two opposite interior angles are equal to the exterior angle. Okay, so just adding those should have given you 130. Okay, I'm going to show you the other method that I'm talking about. Let me finish up with this one. Okay, so now once we have found this, then we say we divide both sides by 5 and this side by 5. Okay, then we say 5. Okay, will leave us with the x. Then 5 into 13, it will go one time. Okay, it will go 2 times, sorry, remainder 3. So 5 into 30, it will go 6 times. So that will be x is equal to 26 degrees. X is equal to 26 degrees. Okay, if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section, but basically that's how you go about it. Okay, now let me show you the other method that is faster and simple. Okay, when such a question has come. Now, remember, when such a question has come. Okay, so what you can do is you can use even this method. So these two interior angles are opposite to this 130 degrees that is given. So you can use that rule. Okay, two interior angles are equal to 130 degrees. Okay, so what you can do now is to solve this question, you can just say 2x plus 3x degrees, okay, is equal to, then what you do is you just write 130 degrees, sorry, you write 130 degrees. Okay, so what you can do now is you find the sum of that. 2 plus 3 will give me 5x degrees, which is equal to 130 degrees. Then you divide both sides by 5 degrees. Again, this side 5 degrees. Okay, so what you do is now you cancel the 5 degrees here and you remain with the x, which is equal to, then the degree out and the degree out. Then you say 5 into 13, it will go 2 times, remainder 6, remainder 3, sorry, remainder 3. Then you say 5 into 30, it will go 6 times, and then that is the answer. So basically, this is the other shortcut of finding the answer. Now remember, unless you are given the opposite angle. If it's not the opposite angle of the two interior angles given, then don't use this method. Okay, so basically that's how you go about it. Okay, if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section. Otherwise, this is how you solve it. Okay, we come to question 5c, which is as follows. On the x or y plane, illustrate the solution of y is greater or equal to 3 minus x by shading the wanted region for the domain. Okay, which is -1 is less or equal to x, which is less or equal to 4. Okay, so what we need to do is for us to come up with the solutions, I'm going to show you the short way you can do it. Even examiners will mark when you use that short way, and they know that's the way you should go about it. Okay, so let me first come up with the set of domains. Okay, so I'm going to say domains. Okay, so we are told that the domains are equal to are less or equal to 1. So that means -1 will be included. That is -1, not plus, please. That is -1, comma. Then we are told 0. The domains are equal to 1, that is equal to -1, less or equal to -1, and also less or equal to 4. So that means we are going to have 0, then we have 1, then we have 2, then we have 3, then we have 4. Because they are saying they are less or equal to, that means 4 should be included and -1 should be included. But if they said they are less than 4, that means the 4 couldn't have been included. Now, when you come up with this, what you need to do is this. Ignore these domains that are in between -1 and 4. Focus on 4 and -1. This way, you are going to plot the same graph that you can plot if you find the range of all the numbers. So, I'm going to make a set of range. Okay? Okay? So, we start with -1. I'm just going to use 2 numbers. That's what you need to do. Even examiners, when they see you're doing this, they won't mark you wrong. Okay, you can even see the space that is remaining. So that means you can even work out like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come up with the expression, the function that is given. That is the inequality that is given, which is y is greater or equal to 3 minus x. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say y is greater or equal to 3. Then I'm going to put -1 where there is x, so I'm going to have minus, then -1. Okay, then it's going to be y is greater or equal to 3. First, let me evaluate the negative and 1. So negative times -1 will give me +1. Okay, then which means y is greater or equal to 3 plus 1 will be 4. So when x is equal to -1, y will be 4. So we can put 4 there. Okay, now for the other range, for the other domains, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, I'm not going to use them. Okay, so I'll skip that. Then I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use the same function, which is y is greater or equal to 3, then minus x. So I'm going to say y is greater or equal to 3 minus. So now I'm going to use the domain 4. Then I'm going to say minus 4. That means y is greater or equal to. So the number which is big between 3 and 4 is 4, and 4 has got a negative sign. So that means I'm going to maintain the negative. Then I find the difference between 3 and 4, which is the difference is 1. So the answer is -1. So when the domain is 4, the range will be -1. Okay, now we have found two range for the equation, so we can use them. So now what we do is now we are going to pair them as coordinates. So 4 and 1, that is the coordinate, and -1. So 4 and -1 and -1 and 4. will be coordinates for 2 points. So I'm going to plot. Let me start with the one I started with, which is -1, 4. So -1, 4 will be somewhere here. Okay, will be somewhere here. Okay, we know that when you are reading coordinates, we start with x, then we come and read out the reading on y. Then 4, -1, so it will be here. Okay, so what I need to do is just to plot a line, and this line should be closing the points, where the lines are closing. Okay, now I don't have a ruler, I'm using a freehand. Okay, I'm using a freehand. Now that is the graph that I've come up with there, and that's the graph that you should come up with. Okay, even when you use this formula, they'll still mark you. Even the other person who's going to use all the numbers to find the range will come up with the same graph I've come up with. Now once I've done this, the next thing is, the question is, on the x or y plane, illustrate the solution of y is greater or equal to 3 minus x by shading the wanted region for the domain, and we have -1 is less or equal to x, which is less or equal to 4. Okay, so now what we want to shade is the y is greater than 3 minus x. So this is the range. So any part that is above, that's the one we're going to shade. Where the y is increasing, that's the one we're going to shade. What we can do is we can even shade. Okay, now I want to talk about why have I used a solid line. Why have I used a solid line? I've used a solid line to draw the graph because we are given an expression which is y is equal to or y is greater or equal to. That's why I've used the solid line. If I was given y is equal to 3, then I could have used a broken line or a dashed line. Okay, now since I'm using a solid line, or since I'm given y is greater or equal to, that means I'm going to use a solid line. So this is the part that you shade. Okay, if you have not understood, please you can ask me in the comment section. I'll be glad to go through it again. We come to question 5D, which is, in the diagram, AD and AC are straight lines. BE is parallel to CD. AE is equal to 12 centimeter. BC is equal to 4 centimeter. DE is equal to 3 centimeter, and angle CAD is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so how do we go about this one? So what we're going to use is we're going to come up with a proportional expression that will help us to find the final answer. So what we know is 3 centimeter is on the parallel lines, is attached to the parallel lines, and 4 centimeter is attached to parallel lines, and DE is formed on the same line as AD. Okay, so or AE, sorry, AE, as well as BC is formed on the same line as AB. So what you can come up with, we can come up with a proportion expression that is like this. Now the reason I'm coming up with such a proportion expression is because I know that these triangles are similar. These triangles are similar, so that's a thing I'm going to use. So that means they have got the same ratio. These two triangles, they have got the same ratio. So the corresponding sides have got the same ratio. So the ratio is, and now we can go ahead and say, okay, what is the expression? So we have 3. We have got 3 centimeter is equal to 12 centimeter. Okay, then we can also come up with a ratio which is 4 centimeter is equal to x. We don't know the value of the length AB, so we put x there. So what we do, we cross multiply. Then we have 3 centimeter times x will give us 3 centimeter x, which is equal to 12 times 4 will give us 48 centimeter squared, 48 centimeter squared. Then what we do, we divide both sides by 3 centimeter. Why? We want to remain with x on one side of the equal sign. Okay, that means 3 centimeter and this 3 centimeter will cancel each other out, leaving us with x. Now 48 divided by 3 will give me 16. Centimeter squared divided by centimeter will give me centimeter. So the length of x is, or the length of AB is 16 centimeter. The length of AB is 16 centimeter. So where there is x, we can even remove x and put 16 centimeter. Okay. Now, once we have gotten this, if you want to prove if the answer is correct, all you can do is just use the corresponding sides and compare if the ratio is the same. Okay, so basically what you can do is this. So let's say we have got these two triangles. We have got the first side. Let's focus on this side. We have got AE to AD. Okay, so AE is equal to 12 to AD is equal to 15. So if we were to write this ratio into its lowest form, we will divide both sides by 3, because 3 is the highest common factor that can go into 15 and 12. So 3 into 12, it will go 4 times. 3 into 15, it will go 5 times. Okay, so that is the ratio. Now, is that true if we use this ratio, the sides that are down? So we can say AB to AC. So AB, that is 16, to AC, that is 20. Okay, then we divide both sides by 4 and this side by 4. Then we have 4 into 16, it will go 4 times. 4 into 20, it's 5 times. So that is the answer. So the ratio, as you can see, they are the same. So basically, this is how you go about it. Okay, if you have got questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comment section. Now let's go to the next question, which is Vincent wants to buy a truck valued at 380,000 kwacha. How much will he pay in American dollars if the exchange rate is $1 to 19 kwacha? $1 to 19 kwacha. Okay, so what we can do is first we are going to come up with the expression, which is money in dollar. Okay, dollars is equal to money in kwacha, that is the amount, divided by exchange rate. Okay, exchange rate, that is just the shorthand of exchange rate. Okay, my shorthand. Then I'm saying now I'm going to write 380, that is the amount, 380,000 divided by 19. Okay, which is the exchange rate. Okay, so what we can do now is we focus on these non-zero numbers. So 19 into 3, it can't. 19 into 38, it will go 2 times. Remainder 0. So what we do is, since it's remainder 0, then we bring the zeros that have not been used here. We add them to the quotient. Okay, so that means you should have $20,000. $20,000. Okay, so the question is, Vincent wants to buy a truck valued at 380,000 kwacha. How much will he pay in American dollars if the exchange rate is $1 to 19 kwacha? So he'll pay $20,000. $20,000. Okay, if there are questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comment section, but basically that's how we go about this question. Let's go to B, that is question 6B, which is as follows. Okay, the table shows the number of pairs of shoes produced by a factory in 4 weeks. Okay, so we have got weeks there. Then we have got number of pairs of shoes. So in week 1, 50, 2, 90, week 3, 70, week 4, 100. Use the information in the table to complete the bar chart. Okay, so then the first one, the last one, which is 100 pairs, has been done, so we need to complete that one. Okay, so we have got 70, so 70 is here, so we are going to shade this part. Okay, so because I'm trying to beat time, I'm going to shade it like that. I want to be as neat as these ECZ stuffs were. Okay, I hope you can see that is the graph. Then I'm going to use another color. That is now for 90. That means 90 is here. So I'm going to draw I'm trying to complete the graph. So that is my 90. Okay, then the next graph is that is 50. So we are going to shade from 50 coming downwards like this. Okay, so now what you need to do in an exam, just try to be as neat as you can. You can use a ruler and shade properly. For me, the technique I'm using, the technology I'm using cannot allow me to be so much neat. Okay, so that's what you can do. Okay, if you have got questions, otherwise you can ask, but basically that's how you go about it. Okay, so like this, you have gotten 3 marks, just like that. Okay, so basically that's how you solve it. So you need also to be very sure that you are shading the entire box. Okay, and you are following the lines. So the best thing you can do is you get a ruler and mark the lines and then you shade. Okay, it's okay, you can shade with a pencil, just shading darker, just like the way I'm shading here. It's okay. Okay, as long as it is vivid enough, as long as the marker can see your shading, then it's okay. Come to question 6c, which is as follows. On the x or y plane, plot the points v, -2, 3, w, -2, -3, and x, 1, -3. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to first start with a point, that point which is v, v is equal to -2, 3. So -2, 3 is here at this point. -2 is the reading of -2 is the reading of x-axis, and 3 is the reading of y-axis. So the point will be there, and we call this point v. Okay, then we come to w, which is -2, -3. So the point -2, -3 is here. Okay, so that point is called w. Okay, then we come to x, which is 1, -3. That point is here. Okay, and that point we call it x. Okay, now once we've plotted those diagrams, then what we can do now is we have answered question 1 completely. Now we can go to question 2, which is draw the graph of y is equal to 2x. So we are going to write that expression, which is y is equal to 2x. Okay, so what will be the value of y when x is equal to 1? Okay, so when x is equal to 1, what will be the value of y? The value of y will be 2. Okay, so we can even come up with the coordinates, which is 1, 2. So when the reading on x-axis is 1, the reading on y-axis will be 2. Okay, then let's try to use 2. So when we first write the function, which is 2x, so we say when x is equal to 2, what will be the value of y? So y is equal to 2 times 2 will give us 4. So we can come up with a coordinate which is 2, 4. okay, which is 2, 4, like that. Okay, so that is the coordinates, and we have found the coordinates. Now we're going to use those coordinates to plot a graph. So let's see, plot a graph. Let's start first plotting the point 1, 2. So when x is equal to 1, then y will be 2, so that point is here. Okay, then when x is equal to 2, y will be 4, so the point, let me see, 2, then y will be 4, so the point will be here. Now once we have plotted those lines, what we can do now, once we have plotted those points, not lines but points, now we can draw a line. Okay, so let's try to draw a line that passes through these points. So we make sure it passes on these points. Okay, so the beginning there is not all that, so we can do that, and I'm just trying to adjust the line so that even if we can't see the exact point, we can tell that the line is passing like that. So now this is the line I've drawn, and it's a graph of y is equal to 2x. Y is equal to 2x. That is the graph now we have drawn here. I'm sure you're able to see it. So that is how you draw that line. If there are questions, you can ask in the comment section, but basically that's how you plot this graph. So in an exam room, you get a ruler and draw a nice line that passes through those 2 points. Okay, you make sure they are passing through those 2 points. Okay, if possible, instead of marking, you can prick those points. Okay, and then you make sure the ruler passes through that. Okay, so basically that's how you go about this question. If you have got questions, like I said earlier on, ask in the comment section. So like this, we have aimed for marks. Okay, we come to question 7, which is as follows. Question 7a is as follows. A salesman is paid a fixed salary of 3,200 kwacha and receives 2% commission on all the sales. If he earned 4,550 kwacha in a month, calculate the total amount of sales that he made. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to find the total sales of this man in this particular month where he got 4,550 kwacha. Okay, so what we can do is you need just to be very careful that we use the same expression for use. So we say total wage is equal to fixed salary plus commission Okay, so what you can say is, now what is the total wage? We are told the total wage was 4,550, which is equal to the fixed salary is 3,200 kwacha plus, now we say plus the commission. Commission we are not told, instead we are given the percentage, which is 2/100 times how much was the total sale, we don't know, so times x, like that. Okay, so what you can do now is one, we need to make x to be the subject of the formula, and then the other thing we need to do is we need to get rid of the fraction. Okay, so what you can do now to get rid of the fractions, we're going to multiply. We say we have 4,550 is equal to 3,200 plus 2 times x will give us 2x over 100. Okay, so over 100. So what we can do is we can multiply all the terms in this expression by 100 so that we get rid of a fraction. So that means we are going to have 4,550 times 100 is equal to 3,200 times 100 plus 2x over 100 times 100. Okay, that means this 100 and this 100 will cancel each other. Then this one, which is 4,500 times 100, is going to give us 455,000, which is equal to this one. So that one we have is 455,000 kwacha. Then is equal to, again we multiply that, which is going to be 3200, then 00, that will be 320,000 kwacha, then plus 2x. Okay, then what you can do now here is we put like terms together. So we have got 455,000, then we'll close the equal sign and become minus 320,000, okay, is equal to 2x. Okay, so what we can do now is we find the difference of this. Okay, so the difference of that will be when we subtract that, so we have 4 zeros there, so we just have 5 minus that, so we have 3 zeros. That will be 3 zeros. This 0 minus that 0, 0 minus that 0, and 0 minus that 0 will give us 3 zeros. Then we have 5 minus 0 will give us 5. Then 5 minus 2 will give us 3. Then 4 minus 3 will give us 1. So we have now 135,000 kwacha, which is equal to 2x. We need to find how much is sold. So we divide both sides by 2 and this side by 2. What are we going to get? Okay, so 2 into 13, it will go 6 times, remainder 1, so we have 15 there, 13 is gone. Then 2 into 15, it will go 7 times, remainder 1, so 15 is gone, we are remaining with 10. 2 into 10, it will go 5 times, then remainder 0. So we have remaining with 2 zeros, then we write them like that, which is equal to x. So this is the final answer. This is the final answer. Now the total, the question is asking us to find the total amount of sales he made, that is 67,500 kwacha. 67,500 kwacha. That is the total sales he made. Okay, if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section, but basically that's how you go about this question. Okay, now let's go to question 7b. Question 7b. Let's go to question 7b. A cylinder has a radius of 14 centimeter and the height of 30 centimeter. Take pi to between 2 over 7. So you need to take time and start the cylinder. If you have done, then we can go to calculate the total surface area of the cylinder. Okay, so we want to calculate the total surface area of a cylinder. So what we need to pay attention to is that we need to understand that total surface area of a cylinder, so which we can abbreviate as total surface area of a cylinder, is equal to, so the formula for total surface area is 2 pi radius squared plus 2 pi RH. Okay, that is the formula for total surface area of a cylinder. Okay, now once we have written the formula, the next thing we need to do is we just do the calculation. So we say 2 times the pi we are told to be 22 over 7. Okay, then times radius. What is the radius? Now look at this statement here. We are told the radius is 14, so we say times 14 squared. Let me just write proper. So we open bracket to say 14, and it should be 14 centimeter squared plus 2 times pi, which is 22 over 7 times radius. We have 14 times 14 centimeter, then times height. Now we are told the height is 30 centimeter, so we say times 30 centimeter. Okay, now let's evaluate that. So 22 times 2 times 22 will give us 44 over 7. Then we expand that one, 14 centimeter times 14 centimeter, then plus, then 22. First of all, we evaluate this. We say 7 into 14, it will go 2 times. So we have dealt with 7. So we are remaining with 2 times 22 will give us 44. So we have 44 times, okay, 2 times 30, that will give us 60 centimeter squared. Okay, then here we do with 7 and 14, it will give us 2. So we have something like 44 times 2. So 44 times 2, so let me multiply first. 44 times 2 will give us 88 centimeter times 14. Okay, 14 centimeter, then plus 44 times 60. So we have got 60 times 44. Let me just calculate down here very fast. So I have got 60 times 44. Let me do the quick calculation. So 4 times 0, that is 0. 4 times that will give us 24. So that will be 440. So we put 0 here. Then 4 times that will give us 0. That will give us 24. So it will be like this. Then when we add 0, 4, 6, 2. So the answer we'll get there is let me first lab this so that as I write there is no confusion. So we have 2640 centimeter squared. So we have found that area first. Then we come, let me completely lab this now. Okay, since I've gotten the answer, then we say the next thing we do is 88 times 14. So we do the same. So 88 times 14, what we are going to get, 8 times 4 times 8, 4 times 8 will give us 32. So I'm going to write 2, carry 3, then 4 times 8, 32 plus 3, 35. So we have 35, 352, then we have 0, then we have 8 there, and then we have also 80. Then we add that, we have 2, then we have 8, 5 plus 8 will give me 13. So I'll write 3 carry 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 3, that will be 12. So that is 1,232 centimeter squared. Then plus this one, 2,640 centimeter squared. Okay, so before someone gets confused, these are not part of the expression there, so let me remove them. Okay, now what do I do next? I want to find the sum. Now I want to find the sum, so I'm going to say that, let me add that. So I have got 1,232 plus 2,614. Then when I add to give me 2 here, then here 7, here 8, and there 3. So the correct answer is 3,872. So I'm demonstrating these things I'm doing here so that you can also use them in an exam, as these exams, they don't allow people to go with calculators. So this is what you can be doing. Okay, so that is the answer. So we say centimeter squared. So the total surface area of the cylinder is 3,872 centimeter squared. Okay, so if you have got questions, this is, you can ask in the comment section. Otherwise, this is how you solve. This is the formula that you use, and this is the answer you get if you use that formula. Okay, if you're saying, no, the calculations are big, please just practice. So we come to question 7c, which is as follows. The arrow diagram is a mapping from set P to set Q. Okay, so we can take time and study the diagram or the arrow mapping. Now, if X is a member of P and Y is a member of Q, 1, write the formula for the mapping. Okay, so to write the formula for the mapping, what we need to do is first we come up with a frame for the formula, which is y is equal to gradient multiplied by x plus c. Gradient multiplied by x plus c. Okay, the next what do we do is we find the value of gradient. That's the first thing. So we're going to say gradient is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so what we can do now is we identify the two sets of pairs that we can use. So we're going to use these pairs. Okay, so what we can do now is we go ahead and do the calculation. So we say equal to, then we say y2 will be 1. Okay, y2 will be 1, it's here. Then y1 will be 0, so 1 minus 0 over x2 will be negative 2. Okay, x2 will be negative 2 minus negative 3. Okay, minus negative 3. Okay, then we say equals, then 1 minus 0 will give us 1 over, now here we have negative 2 minus negative 3, so it's more or less like we have negative 2, then negative times negative 3 will give us positive 3. Then we have, what is the bigger number between 2 and 3? 3 is bigger. 3 is bigger, so, and the sign of 3 is positive, so we know that our answer will be a positive. The difference of 3 and 2 is 1. So 1 into 1 will give us 1. So the gradient is 1. So we go to the function we are making. We say y is equal to 1x plus c. Okay, so next what we need to do is, in this function, for it to be complete, we need to find the constant, which is c. What is the value of the constant? So to find the constant, what we're going to do is we're going to get this fraction, this formula where this on stage 2, we're going to say y is equal to 1x plus c. Okay, so now what do we do now? Again, we get this function here. Okay, just this, what did I say? Function. This pair. Okay, this pair, we get that pair or that those codes. Okay, then what we do is where there is y, we put the value of y. Now remember, y is the member of q, so where there is q, so y is the value of y is 2. The value of y is 2, which is equal to, then the value we have 1, then the value of x in that is negative 1, then plus c. Okay, so we are multiplying these. Okay, so we have 2 is equal to 1 times negative 1 will give us negative 1 plus c. So what we do is we put like terms together. We have 2, then negative 1 will close the equal sign and become plus 1, which is equal to c. Okay, then we say 2 plus 1 will give us 3, which is equal to c. So the constant is 3. Okay, so we go to where we're making the formula. We say y is equal to 1x plus 3. Okay, so now we have come up with a formula. Now we can still go ahead and simplify this one. So we say y is equal to 1 times x will give us x plus 3. Now this is the final formula. So write the formula for the mapping. We can say the formula is y is equal to x plus 3. Okay, like that. Excuse me. All right. Now we go to the next question, which is question 2. Find the value of x when y is equal to -5. Okay, so the formula we got is this one there. So we're going to copy it. Y is equal to x plus 3. Okay, so once we have copied the formula, we can go ahead and find the answer. So we say the question is find the value of x when y is equal to -5. So y is equal to -5. So we're going to say -5 is equal to x plus 3. Okay. Then what do? We put like terms together. We have -5 is -5. Then 3 will cross the equal sign. -5 minus 3 is equal to x. Now since all the numbers have got the same sign, that means we're going to maintain the same sign and combine the numbers, which will give us 8, which is equal to -8 is equal to x, and that is the value of x when 5 is equal to when y is equal to -5. Okay, I don't know if it's because I've been doing this, I'm just working the entire paper at once, so maybe I don't know if I've gotten tired. Sorry for mishaps on how I'm pronouncing or reading out other words, numbers. Given that L is equal to 5, -4, 6, 3, and M is equal to 1, -2, -3, 0, express 2M plus L as a single matrix. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this one as well. So what we're going to do is now we're going to get first this expression down here, this expression which is 2m plus L. Okay, so this one we're going to multiply the matrix M by 2 and then add it to matrix L. So what we're going to do is going to say 2, then okay, 2, we say 2 open bracket matrix M. That is, now you need to be very careful. Don't just say because they have said M you can't copy the matrix L. You need to pay attention to the matrix you are copying. That is 1, -2, -3, 0, close bracket, then plus matrix L, that is 5, -4, 6, 3. Okay, then what we need to do now is evaluate this. So that means we ignore that one a bit, so we evaluate this. So we multiply every element by 2. So we're going to come up with this, and then we say 2 by 1 will give us 2. 2 by -2 will give us -4. 2 by -3 will give us -6. 2 by 0 will give us 0. And that is the matrix. That is the product of matrix M multiplied by a scalar 2, or 2 multiplied by matrix M. Then we say plus, then open bracket, then we say 5, -4, 6, 3. Okay, then what we do is we say equal to, then we add those. So we put these numbers, corresponding numbers, in smaller brackets. So we add 2 plus 5. So we say 2 plus 5, close bracket. Again, we add 4 plus -4 plus -4. So we open bracket to say -4 plus -4. -4 plus -4. Let me write properly because I may get confused. So we are saying -4. Okay, then we add -6 plus 6. So we have -6 plus 6. Okay, these will be in brackets as well. 0 plus 3. So we have 0 plus 3 in brackets as well. Then they'll be in bigger bracket like that one. Okay, now once we have done that, then because of lack of space, let me use this side. So the answer will be, let me open bracket, then I add this one. 2 plus 5 will give us 7. Negative 4 plus negative 4. So it's more or less like we have negative 4. Then we say positive times negative 4 will give us negative 4. So since the signs are the same, we maintain the sign. This is the law of integers. We maintain the sign, then we combine the numbers. 4 plus 4 will give us 8. Then we say negative 6 plus 6. Now the numbers are equal. That means they will neutralize each other and give us the answer, which is 0. Then 0 plus 3 will give us 3. And this is the final matrix. So multiplying matrix M, multiplying 2 by matrix M plus L will give us 7, negative 8, 0, 3. So that is the answer. Sorry that I've written the final answer on this side. Basically, that's what you can even do during the final exam. If you run out of space, make sure you can squeeze it somewhere. Okay? So that's how you do it. But make sure you train to write smaller things so that space can be enough. Okay, without wasting your time, let's go to the other questions. Okay? So let's come to question 8b, which is solve the equation solve the equation a minus 3 is equal to a plus 1 plus 3. Okay, so to solve this one, what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite the expression. So the expression is a minus 3 is equal to a plus 1 over 3. Okay, over 3. Then what we do, we get rid of the fraction. So that means we're going to multiply every element by 3. So we have got 3 by a minus, okay, then 3 by 3, okay, then which is equal to a plus 1 over 3 times 3. Okay, that means when we are going to have 3 by a will give us 3a minus 3 by 3 will give us 9, which is equal to, then this 3 and this 3 will cancel each other, leaving us with a plus 1. Okay, now what we need to do after I do this, the next thing we need to do is put like terms together. So we have got 3a, then a will cross the equal sign and become minus a, will become a negative. Since it's a positive, will become a negative, which is equal to 1. Then 9 will cross the equal sign and become a positive, which is going to be plus 9. Then 3a minus a will give us 2a, which is equal to 1 plus 9 will give us 10. Then will be over. Then we say we divide both sides by 2. Then we have a. So 2 on top and 2 down cancels each other, leaving us with a. Then 2 into 10 will give us 5. So the value of a is 5. The value of a is 5. Okay, so if you have got questions, I'm here to answer the questions, but basically this is how you solve this question. Question 8c is as follows. The table shows the frequency distribution of marks in a test. Okay, so marks we have got 1 to 3. We have 3 there. 4 to 6, we have 4. 7 to 9, we have 6. 10 to 12, we have 4. 13 to 15, we have 3. Now, question 8c1 is, what is the model class? Okay, so model class, they're asking us which class has got higher frequency. Which class has got higher frequency? So this one, we don't even need to waste time. That is the frequency, the highest frequency is 6. So the model class is 7 to 9. That is the model class. That's what we need to write. No calculations that are needed to be done. Okay, we come to question 8C2, calculate the min mark. Okay, so for us to calculate the min mark, what we're going to do is we are going to get the middle number, since they're putting them in a 3 a set of 3 numbers, that is 1, 2 and 3. It's just like that. So the middle number between 1 and 3 is 2. So we're going to come up with this expression, which is calculate the mini mark. So mini mark, we're going to say mini mark is equal to, we open bracket, we say 2 by, so 2 is the number that is in the middle. Okay, 2 is the number that is in the middle here. So 2, 1, 2. So the middle number between these numbers is 2. So we're going to say 2 times 3. 3 is the frequency. 3 is coming from the frequency. Okay, close bracket, plus, then we say again the middle number between 4 and 6 is 5. So we say 5 times 4, close bracket, plus the middle number between 7 and 9 is 8. So we're going to have 8 times the frequency 6, close bracket, plus the middle number between 10 and 12 is 11. So I say 11 times 4, close bracket, plus the middle number between 13 and 15 is 14. So 14 times 3. Then we do like this. Okay, now the whole of that, remember we want to find the mini mark. The whole of that we say divide by, so we had this, we say 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3. Okay, then next we evaluate what is on top and down. So we say equal to, then we say 2 times 3 will give us 6, plus 5 times 4 will give us 20, plus 8 times 6 will give us 48, plus 11 times 4 will give us 44, plus 14 times 3. Okay, 14 times 3. Okay, 14 times 3, so 28, plus that is 42. Okay, 42. The whole of that over 3 plus 4, 7, 7 plus 6, 13, 13 plus 4, 17, 20. So over 20. Okay, which is equal to, now we evaluate that 6 plus 20 will give us 26. 26 plus 48 should give us 74. Okay, 74 plus this should give us 74, 114, 118 plus 2, 120, 160. So if I'm not mistaken, that is 160 divided by 20. So to make our calculation easier, we are going to just cancel this 0 and this 0. Then we say 2 into 16 will give us 8. Now 8 is the mini mark. 8 is the mini mark. 8 is the mini mark. Okay, so if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section, but basically that's how you find the mini mark when you're given the frequency. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'm very humbled that you have watched this video up to this far. Thank you so much for this kind of gesture, and I want to encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I want to continue with you up to grade 12. So please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as we go up to grade 12. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.